Hey book lovers, we are Ellen and Sarah, and this is Besties and Books, where we drink wine, share laughs, talk fantasy, and all the stories that steal our hearts.
Today, we are diving into the future of the Maasverse. That's right, we are talking theories, predictions, and all the spicy possibilities for SarahJMaas' upcoming book.
Spoiler warning, please note this episode will contain heavy spoilers for the entire SJM universe. That means spoilers for Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, Crescent City, especially House of Flame and Shadow, which just kicked the SJM universe wide open. So if you have not read the entire series in the SJM universe, then this is your time to exit the video. Yes, and you should. Don't delay Crescent City like I did. Before we get speculative, let's do a quick recap. So we've got Throne of Glass. It's concluded, nothing further. ACOTAR is ongoing, with the most recent book being A Court of Silver Flames, which focuses on Nesta and Cassian. And then Crescent City is also ongoing, and it is now completely entwined with the ACOTAR universe after Book 3, House of Flame and Shadow.
And SJM has confirmed that more books are coming in the ACOTAR series, and potentially more crossovers between her series. So the question is, what is next?
So here's the deal. SJM has confirmed she's working on the next ACOTAR book right now, but there's no release date yet. Also, can we talk about the 10th anniversary of ACOTAR real quick? That was a couple of weeks ago. We were all manifesting a Book 5 announcement.
This was went the crazy. Oh, Book 6 announcement?
Oh, I call it Book 5 because I count Book 4 as a novella. So I sort of I skip. Oh. So that's why I refer to it as Book 5, but you could call it Book 6. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it's the same. Yeah. But this could have been a decade of the Bat Boys, the bargain tattoos, the emotional trauma, and what did we get? No title, no cover, and no release date.
That must have been deliberate though.
They announced, actually it might not have been on the 10th anniversary, but close to it, they announced the Night Court edition of the series. And I have to admit, I'm a bit disappointed by it. It's just a paperback and it's all very dark and gloomy. There isn't any special artwork. There's no sparkles. Okay. It's just it's just a black cover. And I'm very unimpressed. But in saying that, I do want SJM to take her time with the next book too.
Agreed.
Because we want it to be amazing.
Let's not rush it.
Yes. So now we're back to speculating like the...
Sounding like the slurries or something.
I was getting a French accent there. I'm not really sure what was happening. So now we're back to speculating like the slightly unhinged, Fae-obsessed Batboy besties we are. And what do we actually know? So we know that SarahJMaas has publicly confirmed that there's another book coming in the ACOTAR series, and this will be her next project. There's no official release date, like we've said, but based on previously published books in her series, we can expect late 2025 or early 2026. Although given now we're in May, there's still no announcement, I'm doubtful for this year. She's also mentioned that it will be a long book, which we love.
And I've seen a few videos floating around lately on Book Talk that have suggested that in some interviews when SJM has said it's going to be a long book, she's emphasized long book, and so apparently the online book community has read into that and have decided that the way she said long actually means that she's finished reading the book. No, it's got nothing to do with anything spicy.
That's where my head started to go, because you're like, long. I was like, oh, okay, we're talking wingspan already.
No, that's where I thought it was going to go too, but no, everywhere online is apparently saying the way she's emphasized that it's a long book. She knows it's going to be a long book because she's already finished writing it and is currently in edit mode. And some of the theories said that apparently it's about a year. Once a book is sort of the first draft's written, it's at least a year of just editing until it's published. So based on that, it will be early 26.
Wow.
According to my not reliable Book Talk sources.
Well, we'll have our pre-orders ready as soon as the announcement is released.
Yes. All right, so now we are going to guess the next ACOTAR. We are going. I'm just going to start again. All right, it is time to guess the next ACOTAR book title, because if SJM will not tell us the name of book 5, we're just going to have to make it up ourselves.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think maybe your guess will be to do with the long wingspan if we haven't already.
I guarantee you the word long didn't come into any of my guesses. All right, let's
shoot.
go.
What's your guess? You go first.
Oh,
You do one first.
well, I came up with a lot. Did you?
I came up with 3.
Oh, okay. You go first.
But I think if you go first because you've got more, then it will marry up, won't it?
Well, all right. You can. Well, so I did. I separated them into 2 sections because I wasn't sure in my mind whether she was going to go with the naming convention of the first 3 books, because obviously the naming convention in Silver Flames changes.
Yes.
So my first few are based on whether it's going to be sort of the original naming convention, and I just couldn't get out of the fact that where Azriel's going to feature in it, in my mind, and so Shadows has to be part of the title. So the ones I came down to were A Court of Sorrow and Shadows, A Court of Light and Shadows, so light sort of referencing Elaine more, and shadows for Azriel. The first one, Sorrow and Shadows, I think that's really because I find Elaine quite pathetic. That I was like, let's we've got to come up with a name for that.
It'll be a sorrowful book if it's about her.
A Court of Earth and Shadows because Elaine loves the garden, or A Court of Sight and Shadows because she's a seer, or A Court of Breath and Breaking, which was just me trying to get out of the shadows thing. But I actually think that the naming convention, I think my guess is that SJM is going away from this naming convention because that was sort of tied to the Rhys Feyre books. So then if the name is going to be more similar to Silver Flames, I had A Court of Breaking Shadows or A Court of Encroaching Shadows, or my favorite is A Court of Golden Shadows.
Oh, I like that one.
The reason this is my favorite is because it links in with the Silver Flames, the book before, the Silver and Gold, and then it links obviously to Azriel's Shadows. And then randomly, after I'd come up with a name, I actually Googled, is Golden Shadows even a thing? And I got onto this psychology page, which apparently in psychology, Golden Shadows is a thing, and it represents one's positive yet hidden potential.
Ooh.
So I was like, oh well, that could apply to Elaine.
Yeah. So I guess we're not really talking about yet what could go down in ACOTAR book 5, but it sounds like you're set on it's going to be about Azriel and Elaine.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And I suppose even if it's not Azriel, the shadows could probably apply for sort of like whatever evil being is gonna sort of, you know, I don't know. Anyway, and then I have to do an honorable mention. I did see in just like scrolling through Book Talk this week, a few people posting funny names, and my favorite was, if it was a book purely centered about Elaine, it could be called A Court of Bread and Butter, and I thought that was just like classic.
Oh, Elaine, she might get more substance to her in the next book. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm sure she will. Okay, what have you got?
All right, I guess the first one that I went off, I went with the old naming convention for the first 2 guesses. So the first one I had was A Court of Masks and Swords, after the dead trove objects.
Oh, I like the swords. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the mask that Nesta wears, especially because of its appearance in A House of Flame and Shadow. Mm-hmm. I really feel like the dead trove objects are going to play a massive part in ACOTAR Book 5. The other one that I had was A Court of Shadows and Vines, so representing Azriel and Elaine. But now I kind of like, because we're playing Azriel's, why does it Azriel and Azriel? Azriel?
What do you say? I say Azriel, but
yeah, it should be Azriel. I don't know why I'm saying Azriel. Azriel's power is shadows, and I think Elaine's power is being a seer, right? So maybe it should be A Court of Shadows and Seers or something. or something that plays on both of their powers. I don't know. Or it'll just play on her power alone, sort of like at the court Silver Flames, because Silver Flames was like Nesta's eyes whenever the power was sort of surfacing in her. So maybe the next book will actually play off Elaine's power somehow and be something about her seer or seeing the future. The last option that I had was A Court of Shattered Crowns. And the reason why I picked that one was because it's got that sort of dramatic effect like A Court of Wings and Ruin. And it also goes back on Rhysand and how... Rhysand? Why am I changing the pronunciation of the names all of a sudden?
Just go with Rhys.
Rhys. A Court of Shattered Crowns I got from if the focus was going to be Rhysand's rise to power in becoming High King. So get rid of all the sort of other lords of the Autumn Court and whatever, and that sort of rise and power to High King. So, and it's got that dramatic effect like A Court of Wings and Ruin. So they're my guesses.
Nice. I did think in going through the names, but then also the what we think might happen. It's like, man, this is going to be a big book. If even, a third of the different things that enter my mind happen. Anyway, it's going to be good.
Yeah. So I think my favourite guess, if I had to rate it, would be A Court of Golden Shadows.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I like that one. I like it. I think that's a good one.
We'll see.
And the hidden meaning behind it as well. All right, let's do a quick recap of where A Court of Silver Flames left us. So we have Nesta, and with the help of Emery and Gwyneth, Nesta... Why am I really struggling with pronunciations today? Nesta...
I'm just impressed you're reading all their full names.
Oh my gosh. Nesta revives the Valkyries. Now, have I said that one right? Or do you say Valkyries?
In my head, I think I've always said Valkyrie. Only because that's how they pronounce it in all the Marvel movies, the Valkyries.
Oh, okay.
But
okay, let's go with Valkyries. So Nesta revives the Valkyries, a clan of female warriors wiped out 500 years prior to the series, and became a Valkyrie herself. She can also summon, wear, and carry all the objects that make up the dead trove. By the end of A Court of Silver Flames, she's developed a connection with the Mother, so like Mother Earth. That's how I took it. The Mother? Do you take it the same way?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And she also lost most of her power given to her by the Cauldron in saving Feyre and her baby's life during childbirth. And then we have the handsome bad boy Cassian, who is Nesta's mate, boo, and resides with Nesta in the House of Wind. I just want Cassian to myself.
Don't tell her you're disappointed.
Elaine is still grappling with becoming Fae and so far seems to be rejecting the mating bond with Lucian. There is also growing tension in her relationship with Nesta throughout the book, which sort of gets resolved by the end. This book also has a secret bonus chapter, which is not included in the paperback, but in this bonus chapter we hear from Azriel's point of view and his emotional state and actions following a near kiss with Elaine. Rhysand also demands Azriel to stay away from her. Oh. It also ties up sort of Rhysand and Feyre's little family when Feyre gives birth to their little boy Nyx and they're enjoying newborn bliss. And on the side too, we have Vassa, who's one of the human queens that was trapped on the lake, and she lives with Lucian and Durian in a manor in the mortal lands until she has to go back to the lake again because she's still sort of enslaved there. The other queens flee back to their palace and go into hiding, while Brylin allies herself with Koshi to find the cauldron, regain her youth, and seek revenge against Nesta. I was questioning myself there because I was like, hang on a minute, Brylin's not alive, but we'll get to that. She attacks Nesta, attempting to kill her during the Illyrian blood rite, but she gets killed by Nesta instead.
Nice. So, what do we think is going to happen next? Now, I have come up with a theory, or a few theories, and Ellen has too. We haven't spoken about our theories.
No.
But I think...
And before we get into it too, I should say this will be purely off the ACOTAR book theories.
Yes.
So this will be purely off the ACOTAR Book series. We'll get into Crescent City tying in the next component of this video. But shoot, I want to hear your theories.
All right. Well, I think Elaine is going to go bad. Yeah.
That's an unhinged theory,
Is
Sarah.
it? Oh, I don't think it is.
No, I'm kidding. Okay.
At least temporarily. So I think she's going to betray the Night Court in some form, and I think she's going to ally with Kochi, who I think is going to be, he'll be the main bad character in the next book. Because was it in Silver Flames where at one point she's quite drawn to the lake where he resides? Do you remember that?
Oh, I can't remember.
There's like a little, I feel like, I can't remember if it's more implied or overt, but there's sort of some like connection there. So I wonder whether he's going to lure her in with some sort of, maybe even a promise to turn her human again, if that's still a driving force. I don't know. I sort of thought she was over
she's
that.
She's still
but
in love.
There's sort of that weird, who knows. So he's going to be the next big villain. I do wonder whether maybe there'll be a bigger villain picture and that he's connected to the Asteri even. But Elaine is initially going to go over to Kochi and they're going to sort of pair up for a time. I think she's going to break her mating bond with Lucian. So in this book, I reckon we're going to hear a lot more about mating bonds and how they work. And at this point, we don't think they can sort of be denied, but it seems like the pull is always there. But I think she'll find a way to actually break it. Maybe even that's why she goes to Kochi. Maybe it's a promise to break it. I even thought in my wildest moment that maybe she will kill Lucian to break it. And this is when she's at like her, because you know, SJM loves a, I feel like for any of her female characters to rise, they have to sink to literally the bottom. Like they have to be like, yes. Nesta was just a horrible person, and that was sort of her bottom. And then Feyre she destroyed her soul and her whole world, and she didn't want to exist. She hit rock bottom. Whereas Elaine, I mean, at the moment, she just seems to be happily tending a garden. So she has to somehow hit rock bottom. So whether her rock bottom is like killing Lucian, betraying the Night Court or something, everyone's going to be devastated, obviously. But Azriel, he will not give up on her. And he will be the one, sort of like the Cassian for Nesta, he'll be the one that's like, I'm rooting for you, girl. And then in the end, she will be the key to defeating Kochi, whatever his name is. And, you know, SJM also loves a really nice, like, female friendship bond. So I think Elaine is going to bond with Vasa, and they will pair up to destroy Kochi, and that'll be like a little cute dynamic. So I don't know how that will work if she does kill Lucian, because it seems like Vasa and Lucian are friends, so I haven't quite figured that out. But then I did wonder whether maybe at the end we will find out that Elaine's deception was all sort of for show, and she actually did it because she foresaw that the only way to defeat Kochi was to sort of seemingly betray the Night Court and side with Kochi to get close to him, to then bring him down. And then she'll end up with Azriel at the end.
Wow, I never even
theory.
considered those options.
Well, when you were talking about the Dread Trove was going to be a big part, I was like, but that's a great point. I did wonder at one point, I was like, what about the two swords? When are they going to, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll get into that I've got a theory on that too, which I'll get into in the Crescent City part. But yes, I've got theories there. So in this book, I mean, I suspected this before even reading Crescent City, so it could be wrong, but based off ACOTAR alone, I was like, Rhysand is going into full High King mode. He is going to become High King. I'm determined. Amren was just putting that idea in his head throughout the book, and he was like, no, I don't want to do it. Classic reluctant hero. So I really think he's going to be the High King. He's going to rise. He's going to unite the courts, but it's going to be a battle.
Who's the common enemy that they unite against?
The Asteri. So I'm really excited because I think he's going to put all the silly High Lords in their place, especially Tampon. I also think Nesta's I also think Nesta's Valkyrie era is going to explode. It's going to turn into a full-blown movement. She's going to get all of these female warriors under her belt, and it's just going to be this powerful army that's going to sort of build against this common enemy of just powerful females. And they're going to be underestimated because SJM loves to, like you said, a female coming from rock bottom to rise into the top, but also being underestimated. Every single female in all of her books is underestimated. So I really think that is going to happen. Azriel, why do I keep doing that? Azriel's love triangle. I don't know how this is going to be resolved because I cannot decide whether he's going to go for Elaine or Gwen. I have a problem. I think I'm overthinking it. Have another look.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
the names, yeah, you probably are overthinking the names.
Yeah. So I think whether it's Gwen or Elaine, someone's going to end up with the broody Shadow Singer, and someone's going to have me raging because I love him so much and he's going to be gone no matter what.
Hope they do. I really hope it doesn't turn into a he gets both of them. I don't think
like
that will
a why
happen.
choose?
I don't think
no,
that
I
will
don't
happen.
think so.
I feel like, especially from Gwen, well, both Gwen and Elaine, they're both sort of quite reserved people. I can't imagine there's they both get in a situation. Yeah.
But
I hope not.
There was that hint of spice too in A Court of Silver Flames, right? You've got my mind ticking where Nesta fantasizes about Cassian and Azriel at the same time. And Azriel!
Oh, yeah.
What's my problem? Yeah, there's like a little snippet in A Court of Silver Flames where Nesta is fantasizing about Cassian.
Yeah, okay. What about, so do you think the next book will focus on Elaine or not?
Or
you think it'll just be broader?
I think it'll focus on Azriel. What is it? What's the pronunciation?
Well,
again?
I say Azriel, but I mean...
Azriel,
that could not be... Oh, that's how the audiobooks say it, actually, Azriel.
Yeah. I think I'm getting confused because I keep reading the Little Mermaid book with Ariel.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. Oh, God.
I'm reading it to my son.
That's
all right. Anyway, how that love triangle will be resolved, it could be.
It's sort of like a love quadruple if you bring Lucian into it too.
Fuck Lucian. He's not.
I also want the book to expand on the Jurian, Vasa, Lucian trio. Like, I think that's a little friendship. I mean, she could probably she'll have to do another book and focus on them. But I'd like to see more of Vasa particularly. I don't care so much about Jurian, if he was in it or not, whatever.
To be continued. But also, Azriel doesn't have a mate.
Well,
either.
If Elaine breaks her bond with Lucian, they can just... Maybe
But wouldn't she always be concerned that the real mate, I guess, would come along?
Oh, his real mate.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she can rewire the bonds. For some reason, I just don't think it's... I feel like that throwaway the extra chapter about Gwen, I think was a decoy. I think it's to throw us off the end game, which is Azriel and Elaine. But I would be very happy to be wrong because I actually don't like Elaine. I'd be very happy for a book to center around Gwen.
But in saying that, I didn't like Nesta by the end of the novella.
I still don't really like her.
I hated her. Oh, I love her now.
Do you?
So when I finished A Court of Silver Flames, I was like, this book is not 5 stars, not happy. There was so much smut and Nesta's just foul. And now looking back on it, I see a lot of myself in her and now I'm having a complex. Okay, I get it. Just like being the eldest child, expectations and how that sort of shaped the way that she treats people. And yeah, I saw a lot of, I was like, oh, sugar.
Oh, well,
anyway.
I've never thought there was anything of you in Nesta.
The other theories that I had were Eris is actually a morally grey, misunderstood character with a lot of trauma, and I think he's going to have a redemption arc.
Yeah,
Just
I would
too
definitely
many
buy
hints about
that. So, this is maybe going too much detail, but have you seen the rumours going around that like someone is going to betray the Night Court in the next book?
No.
So that's all come about based on one comment from Briallen in Silver Flames, and I wrote the quote down, and it says, "There are many in the world who would happily see the Night Court fall, who would betray their so-called High Lord for a chance at power? So that stemmed this big debate about the fact that someone because if they're calling him their High Lord, it's someone within Rhys's inner circle or court that's going to betray the Night Court. And the biggest contenders that seem to be floating around, there's probably a few, like Elaine or Moore or Azriel. And the Moore theory is that perhaps, you know how she has the gift of truth, that perhaps this gift of truth, which I think we've all interpreted as that she can only speak the truth or she sees the truth or whatever, maybe it sort of can play the opposite card in terms of deception, so she can hide the truth. And so with the whole, because in the Silver Flames, there's one of the books where it implies Eris does make a comment and says to Moore, like, that's not actually how it went down, etc.
Yeah.
So whether she's actually been a bit deceptive and hiding the truth from everyone as to what actually happened, and Eris has gone along with it and just sort of copped it, even though that was probably a bit, unfair on him. And maybe Moore's the one that's going to betray the Night Court because she was a bit MIA in Silver Flames. She's not very happy at Rhys because he's been letting in her father to Valeris and some other decisions. And I mean, I would not be okay if it was, in my head, I much prefer a scenario where Elaine betrays them, even if it's a temporary betrayal, and then it comes good at the end. I just don't know that I see Moore as being the betrayer.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot of talk about Eris sort of being better than he has been portrayed so far.
Ooh, to be continued. The last thing I wanted to mention in terms of ACOTAR theories was similar to you, Koshi gets unhinged. So he's got some big goals. He collects all of the dead trove objects somehow, finally breaks free, and it turns into chaos, magical war, and maybe the cauldron's involved somehow. Ooh, but
do you think he'll turn out to be a Steri?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might happen too.
Yes, I do. All right, let's get into the Crescent City crossover.
Okay, we are going to talk about House of Flame and Shadows because that book was crazy. It kicks off with Bryce crash landing in Prythian, meeting Rhys's inner circle and immediately causing chaos. When the inner circle notices that Bryce's tattoo has the words from Book of Breathings, they lock her up for safety, but Bryce, being Bryce, of course, she escapes. Nesta and Azriel both volunteer to dive into the madness to help her. Cue one giant Midgard worm fight and a surprise trip to the Prism. Bryce stumbles into secrets about her true heritage, the Fae, and she discovers an Asteri locked away that can actually be killed. By the end, Bryce hands Nesta the Star Sword and a big mystery. Why does Bryce's starborn mark match Nesta's bargain tattoo? Oh, and she also reunites the Star Sword with Truth Teller. Two weapons with some serious starborn power, especially when together. Basically, this book blew the SJM universe wide open, and we cannot wait to see what's going to happen next. So what does it mean for the ACOTAR world?
Sorry, I'm picturing like Avengers level multiverse war.
Let's not go down the path of like the same character though, because that just blows my mind too much.
What do you mean?
You know, in the multiverse, there's like 3 Ellens or 3 Sarahs, but in like different universes.
So I say that, but I've never actually watched all of.
You don't know what the
Avengers.
Multiverse is.
I know. I remember watching one of them with Hart in the cinemas, and it was like all the worlds coming together and colliding and sort of clashing. But I didn't know about the.
Well, there's one of the Marvel movies, and there's 3 Spider-Men, and they did it quite well. They actually got like 3 actors who have played Spider-Man in different like franchises of Spider-Man, and then they were all in the one Spider-Man movie, but I think they were like different ages. And anyway, let's not get into that, but yes, let's get equally crazy.
Yes. All right, should you get into your Crescent City theories first?
Oh, sure. Well, I did wonder. So when Bryce gave the Star Sword to Nesta at the end of the last one, I thought, what's she going to do now? How's she going to do cool things outside her own world? But she still has the horn in her back. So I think what could happen is that the horn in her back will open some worlds permanently. I don't know whether that will be on purpose or accidental, but basically, like physically, she'll bring the ACOTAR and the Crescent City worlds together. I wonder whether the Dusk Court, which is mentioned in the ACOTAR books, but is not an actual court in existence, I do wonder whether that will sort of play a part, and perhaps the Dusk Court are Bryce's ancestors who originally came from the ACOTAR world into Crescent City world. So maybe it'll bring all that together. Because do you remember that Danica, so from book 1 Crescent City, Bryce's friend Danica was sort of researching the truth about their planet, and she made coded messages that she actually called Dusk's Truth. So I wondered if is that somehow, like, is there a reference there to the Dusk Court from the ACOTAR world in Crescent City? I don't know. But anyway, I think the horn will sort of inadvertently open up all these worlds to bring all of our friends together, but it will also bring probably the Asteri's home world into the picture, and will lead to like a big epic battle of sort of good versus evil, with the Asteri versus our two favourite worlds. So I don't see that sort of a mass fight happening in the next ACOTAR book. I think the next ACOTAR one, in my mind, is going to be a bit more localised, and therefore maybe won't focus so much on Nesta's two swords, but Nesta's two swords will become much more like crucial in the next Crescent City world book, which is going to just be bigger and bigger and bigger than we can imagine.
Wow.
What do you reckon?
I love those theories. I think I sort of went in a different tangent. So I thought Bryce's arrival in Prythian is definitely not a one-off. We know she can access the horn, she can access different realms, and I feel like it could trigger a cosmic ripple. So setting up ACOTAR Book 5 as ground zero for a sort of a multiverse war happening between the Fey realms and the Asteri. I really feel like they're working towards a big war with the Asteri. But I don't know if that's going to be all resolved in the next book, because I can't remember how many books are planned for ACOTAR and Crescent City. And I feel like that war would be the finale. So I just don't know. Yeah. I'm sure the next book will be about the preparation for the war than it will be the actual war. I also feel like now that Nesta has the Star Sword and the twin blades have reunited, these weapons are going to become absolutely central to the battle in ACOTAR Book 6.
Because it sounds like back in the original, when the Asteri originally had overrun ACOTAR, I have a feeling it was the two swords, wasn't it, that was what defeated the Asteri in the first place?
Oh, I can't remember.
With like Bryce's Starborn ancestors.
Yeah.
Before she went like world jumping and found the Crescent City world.
But that's right. But they just couldn't figure out how they did that with the two swords, right? Like there was a bit of mystery about how exactly that works.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. Gosh.
And because of the Starborn sort of matching tattoos, identical tattoos between Nesta and Bryce, I really feel like their fates are going to be connected, Nesta and Bryce, somehow. I'm not sure how, but they've both got these very similar tattoos, and they've both got this sort of Starborn magic association with them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they tie that together, because it's not like they have shared some common ancestor, given Nesta was originally human, so it's not from that. Maybe the remaining cauldron power that's in her, that, you know, because it says the Asteri took the cauldron, which was originally from the ACOTAR world, and they corrupted it a little bit. I thought they created the cauldron as like a world-ending sort of thing, like a bargaining chip. So each world that they entered, they created something where they could, if the world turned against them, like the switch, the kill switch. Yeah, it was a switch. It was a kill switch. But I feel like it was already there. They just used their sacred object and turned that into a kill switch.
Oh,
I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
I don't know. I also feel like Elaine's sort of seer powers are going to play a big role in the book. So maybe she starts getting visions of Midgard and Bryce, or even Mystery, and those visions play a big role in how Rhysand and Feyre prepare for the war. And I feel like as well, what else did I say? I feel like the magic systems are going to collide somehow too, because we've got all this first light and second light in A House of Flame and Shadow. The Asteri feed off that, so there's got to be some sort of first light situation that's also in the ACOTAR world, the Asteri to feed off, because that's where they came from. So maybe there's this hidden light, first light, second light, or it's called something else in the ACOTAR realm, and they don't realise that it's the first and second light that the Asteri feed off. But I think that'll play a role in the book and how that all ties in, because the Asteri rely on that. They wanted to take over the Fey realm, and I think the last sort of theory that I had was pretty obvious, in that the inner circle sort of unites.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I can't wait for that to happen.
Destroy the Asteri. Ooh.
In 3 years time or something, when the book comes out.
Come on, SJM. Okay, it's time to go totally off the rails. So we are going to share at least one unhinged and wild theory. And this is my first one. Actually, I don't know if this is even unhinged or wild, but
let's hear it.
Lucian mistook the mating bond for something else, and he isn't really mated to Elaine. Azriel and Elaine are mated. I don't know if that's super unhinged, but that's one that I have. I have two others. The other one is Tamlin gets a redemption arc.
Yep. How's that gonna work?
Oh, what if the mating bond between Lucian and Elaine is not really there, and it's actually Tamlin and Elaine? And Azriel and Gwen are mates.
Oh yeah, could be. That ties it off. It's so funny because I literally have on my screen for the one that so my unhinged one is that Tamlin's redemption arc is coming, and Elaine is Tamlin's mate. And the way I justify it is, so when Lucian claimed Elaine as his mate, when they're like in front of Highburn and they've all just the sisters have just been put into the cauldron and turned Fae, I think at that point somehow he actually could sense that Tamlin was her mate, but obviously it's probably not the best time for Tamlin to be claiming his like current girlfriend's sister as his mate. Like, that's a weird look. So Lucian sort of took one for the team by claiming, so to protect Tamlin, he like claimed Elaine as his mate. And then Tamlin risked his life to save Elaine when Feyre flies into the Highburn camp to rescue Elaine, and then Tamlin helps them escape. And we all sort of think that Tamlin is, obviously helping out Feyre. But maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was doing it to get Elaine out of there. And they mentioned quite a few times across the books that Elaine would love the Spring Court Gardens. Like, I think it's even mentioned in like ACOTAR Book 1. It's certainly mentioned at least once or twice in Silver Flames when Nesta goes there. So, could be.
Ooh. The other one that I sort of thought of too was Elaine and Eris fall in love. Unhinged option.
Yep.
Oh. Anyway.
I would prefer, I think, Eris to have a redemption arc than Tamlin. Like, if Tamlin
there's just no substance anymore to Tamlin, right?
Yeah,
like
and I think we've
got to know him already.
Yeah, we've been there, done that. Like, if he has a redemption arc, I just don't care about it really. Whereas Eris, I think his redemption arc could be so interesting, having grown up in obviously what's a very corrupt, horrific, probably, family environment, if he's the one good egg amongst the rest of them.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a bit far-fetched too, because wouldn't Lucian have seen a bit of that over the years if Eris was indeed not as bad as...
Well, I think there were all those doubts about Rhysand, right? But I feel like the whole we think he's really bad but he's really good character has been done already with Rhys, and so it wouldn't really make sense to do it again. unless Eris is still a little bit morally grey, so he's still got some questionable characteristics, whereas Rhys is just all good now. It's just a persona. It's like Rhys's total persona, whereas maybe Eris
I see what you're saying.
I don't know, because she can't, I doubt SJM will repeat that whole sort of storyline with
maybe
Eris.
It will be more that Eris hangs out with the inner circle more and more and more, and as he does it, he just genuinely turns a leaf, as opposed to he's always been this saint inside.
I don't think he's a saint, but I think he's morally grey. Like he's got good, like he's a good person at heart, deep down, but he's made some questionable decisions. To be continued.
I wouldn't mind if Lucian is going to be a main character in the next book, I wouldn't mind them fleshing out his sort of pathway to High Lord of the Day Court, given that his father is his biological father is Hellion, so he's actually heir to that court, which hasn't been acknowledged, but I would be very happy if that fleshed out. I think I want him to end up with Vassar.
Oh yeah, that's a good option. Ooh.
But then that's going to be awkward if Vassar because in my mind Vassar is going to become besties with Elaine, and then Vassar will be hooking up with Elaine's mate. It gets complicated.
But Elaine's off him. Like, she's not interested. She has shown zero interest in Lucian. Like, not even the slightest hint, right?
Yeah, and I think if SJM was to change it and actually make them fall in love, I think it's too late. Was it too late for that? It feels like that.
I reckon.
Feels like that ship sailed.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, that is a wrap from us today. If you have enjoyed the episode, make sure to hit the subscribe button, give us a big thumbs up, and drop a comment below telling us which book you are dying to read this month, or tell us your ACOTAR book number 5 theory. We would love to hear that.
Yes.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.